Hi there. Today in this session, we are going to study about options. And see here, from the starting of our course, we are discussing about the derivatives and its types. We know its types. So what is a derivative? First of all, it is an underlying asset. It is an underlying asset. And what are its types? Forwards, futures, options, and swaps. So far, we discussed about the forwards and futures. And now in this session, we are going to discuss about the options. Already we know what is an option, but again I'm just telling you options. An option is a contract between two parties where by one party acquires the right but not the obligation to buy or sell a particular commodity or an instrument or asset at a specified price on or before a specified date. Means what? Suppose if you want to buy a commodity or an instrument, so if you see these forwards or futures, we have an obligation which is nothing but the condition. If you are agreed to buy, we have to buy. If you are agreed to sell, we have to sell. But in the options we have an advantage, so we have an option here. That's why the name also uh, coined like that, options. We have an option whether to sell or to buy according to the option that we have selected. So in this option, we are going to get only the right, but not the obligation. That is the basic difference between the previous derivatives, types of derivatives, forwards and futures. Whereas in the options, you will get the right either to buy or to sell according to the agreement that you have done, but not the obligation. Suppose if you are agreed to buy, if you are in that contract, so then you will have right to buy but not the obligation. Suppose if you are agreed to sell, you will have the right to sell but not the obligation. And based on that, the uh, types were framed, and we discuss in the next we discuss in the coming up session. And if you see the difference between the forwards and the futures, we already discussed in the previous classes, in the previous sessions, what is the difference between a forward and the future. First of all, what is a forward? Which is nothing but a contract between two parties, so where a standardized authority won't be involved. But whereas in futures, the standardized authority or the regulatory authority will be involved, right? So that is the basic difference between a forward and the future. Now we are going to see the difference between a future and the options. So coming to the first one, that is right and obligation. In the futures, you'll have both the right and obligation. As I told you, as I mentioned you, the basic difference between the forwards and futures and the options is, so the obligation means compulsory or the condition that you have to do the task in forwards or in futures. Whereas in options, you don't have that condition, right? So in futures, the first thing you get is the right and the obligation, and in the options you will get only the right but not the obligation. And if you see the second feature, that is bilateral is nothing but both the parties will get right and obligation. Whereas in unilateral, in options, it is unilateral, where you will get only either the right, sorry, you'll get the right but not the obligation. And coming to the third one, in futures, there is no necessity for you to pay the premium. Payment of premium is not required in futures. Whereas in options, payment of premium is required. As we are not getting the obligation, that is the condition over here. We are not getting the obligation, but we have to pay the premium amount to the other party. And the fourth basic difference between the futures and the options is unlimited profit and loss for both the parties. In future, suppose if market fluctuations has been happened, either increase or decrease may happen according to your choice of either to buy or to sell. You may get the profit and you may get the loss. Either you will be in either in profit zone or in loss zone. You won't minimize the risk over there. But whereas in options, you'll have that minimizing the risk. So suppose if you are in advantage of buyer, means uh, when you are taking an option with respect to the buyer, advantage of the buyer, then you will have limited loss and more profits. Whereas if you are in seller position, then your profit will be limited and loss will be unlimited. So these are the differences between the futures and the options. And coming to the features of the options. The first feature of the option is types. As I when I'm explaining you the definition of the options, so that either you will get when you are a buyer or a seller, you get the right but not the obligation. So based upon that buyer and the seller obligations, we'll have the types. We have the types. What are they? Means call option and put option. So these are the basic types, the types of options. So if you are discussing anything about the options, or if you want to take options in derivatives, so you will get this call option or put option. So first of all, what is a call option? Call option is right to buy an asset. Means the buyer here, if you see, the buyer will have an advantage here. The buyer right to buy, either he'll have either to buy, right to buy, or to stop that purchase, but no condition for him. So if you see the definition, call option, a call option is a right to buy an asset but not obligation. Means no condition would be there. Suppose, take an example, I'll tell you, if I would like to buy an asset, or if I like to buy a land, I agree to buy after 3 months, which is nothing but the basic criteria of the derivatives. Duration will be in months and in years, right? So in 3 months, I agreed to buy in call option. Suppose if the land value has been decreased, then I'll have an agreed price, predetermined price. If that the present market price is less than the predetermined price, then I can cancel that agreement based upon this, right? If you see, the seller won't have that chance. In the case of call option, only the buyer will have an advantage, either to buy. Suppose if he is willing to buy or wishes to buy that asset or the land, so then he can readily buy it by paying the amount, predetermined price at a specified time. He can complete the agreement. But if he wishes not to continue that agreement, he can cancel it. So that is the advantage in the call option. The buyer will have an advantage either to continue the agreement or to discard the agreement. But whereas the seller, whether the prices are increasing or decreasing, it doesn't matter to him. Once if he agreed, he has to complete that agreement. That is call option. Now put option, if you see, call option has an advantage to the buyer. Now put option will have an advantage to the seller. Means now seller will have a right to sell but not the obligation. Seller will have right to sell but not the obligation. So a put option is a right to sell an asset but not the obligation, as I explained you. Suppose if you see the previous example, the land. Suppose if the land value has been increased, than the predetermined price, so then the seller can discard, or just he can cancel that agreement. But the buyer won't have that advantage or that facility. So that is put option. So what are the types of options? So there are two types. One is call option and put option. Call option is the advantage for the buyer. Put option is the advantage for the seller. And coming to the next feature, the second feature is styles of option. So there are two styles, means how we are based upon the operation of the option. So we have the styles. So there are two styles. So one is American option and other one is European option. So what is this American option? American option can be exercised at any time up to the maturity. Suppose if the maturity period is after 3 months, in between the 3 months also you can sell or you can buy according to your agreement, whether you are in call option or in put option. Based on that, you can just exercise your option at any time before the maturity period. So that is American option. Next one is European option. European option has to be exercised only on the maturity date. Suppose if it is fixed in May 25th, on May 25th itself it has to be exercised, not in between the time, right? So that is European option, that is the style. Again, American option, before the maturity period you can exercise at any time, up to the maturity period or maturity date. Whereas European option, you have to exercise only on the maturity date. So that is the second feature of options. Coming to the third feature, that is, which is nothing but the physical delivery and cash settlement. Previously, during the forwards and futures, when we are discussing the other types like forward derivatives and future derivatives, and in that so many types we have discussed. In that we discussed about this physical delivery and cash settlement. So how the physical delivery will takes place and how the cash settlement will takes place. So when an option is exercised before expiry, it may be settled by either by short to long or long to short at an agreed price. So that would be called as a physical delivery. We all know what is a long call or short call, and how it will be operated. Means when can we say that the position of a seller or a buyer will be in long position or in short position? Based on that, suppose if it is for short to long and long to short, then that would be called as a physical delivery. And if you see this cash settlement, usually cash settlement means at the end of the day or at the end of the agreement period, the cash, suppose if you are in a positive cash flows, so the amount will be credited. If you are in negative cash flows, you have to credit the amount. And if you are in neutral situation, and the account will be settled, based, it is purely based on the cash payment. So that is physical delivery and the cash settled options have the both the facilities, not only the physical delivery, it is also having the cash settlements. And the fourth one is underlying assets. So here we all know what is a derivative. First of all, derivative is nothing but the amount that we gain based on the underlying asset. So in options also, the underlying assets are the agricultural commodities. We all know the agricultural commodities like wheat, maize, jowar, or pepper, salt. All these have high demand in foreign countries, and that will be commodity. That will be exchanged between one party to the other party. And foreign currencies also will be considered as underlying asset in options, so like euros, dollars, pounds. So all these also will be exchanged between one party to another party. And interest rates, so based on the interest rates, it may be the fixed interest rate or floating interest rate, or the stocks like Nifty, Sensex, or uh, S&P. So all these stocks, all these also things, and indices, stock indices. And one more thing, the stocks of other companies also will be traded in this options criteria or options type. And the next point is, the next feature of the options is the relation between the prices. So this is an important one, that's why I marked star. So relation between the prices, you need to understand about this. So if you have a clear idea about this, if you understand about this, so then at any point of time you can say whether the options is operating under in the time, at the time, or out of the, in the money, at the money, or out of the money. Based on that you can say, right? So the relationship here, we find the relationship between the two prices. One is the spot price and the other one is the strike price. So spot price means, here we all know spot price means at that time, that market, at that situation, the market price. So what is the price of that particular underlying asset is nothing but the market price. So we call it as spot price. And whereas strike price, the price at which we have booked, means before, suppose if today is the maturity period or end of the maturity period, so today's price would be called as the spot price. And at the time of the agreement, we are doing 3 months before, if we have done the agreement, so the 3 months before price would be called as the strike price. So we find the difference between the spot price and the strike price. So based upon their differences, we can call the situations of the option as in the money, at the money, and out of the money, right? So when can we call in the money? In the money, if we see the difference between the strike price and the spot price gives you positive cash flows, means strike price is greater than the spot price. Means strike price means your agreed price. If your agreed price is more than the spot price, then we can say that you are operating under positive cash flows. The results will be the positive cash flows. So we can say in the money, we can say that condition as in the money. when can we say the condition of the option as at the money means if the results are neutral, or we can say no cash flows, means the strike price is equal to the spot price, means your agreed price is equal to the market price, then we can say that then you can observe there is no difference between the strike price and the spot price, the difference would be zero, so we can call it as no cash flows or the neutral. So that situation will be called as at the money. Okay. And the third one is out of the money, out of the money, which gives us the result negative cash flows. So where the strike price is less than the spot price, means the agreed price is more, sorry, the agreed price is less and the spot price is more, right? So that would be called as out of the money. So based upon the difference between the spot price and the market price, means the relation between the spot price and the strike price, we distinguish the situations, or we distinguish the position of the option, either it can be the call option or put option, in the form of in the money, at the money, and out of the money. Suppose if we are having positive cash flows, we call it as in the money. If we are getting the neutral cash flows, means no cash flows, so then we call it as at the money. And the third case is out of the money, we'll get the negative cash flows. And the next feature of uh, the options is over the counter versus exchange traded. What is over the counter? We discussed many times. Over the counter means which is where the trading takes place, not with the interference of any of the stock exchange or any of the statutory body. No statutory body will be involved. Over the counter means beyond the involvement of the stock exchanges, means no statutory body will be involved, no standard procedure will be followed, means in between one person to other person, informal agreements or informal contracts were exchanging, means then that we call it as over the counter. Exchange traded means, so a statutory body will be involved, which is nothing but if you, for you to understand, it is a stock exchange. A regulatory body will be involved according to their rules and regulations. So we follow all the things, we'll pay the margins, and based on that only the trading procedure will continue. So in forwards, if you see what is a forward, forward is an agreement between one person to another person where a statutory body is not involved. In futures, so a statutory body will be involved. That is the basic difference between the forward and the future. If you see these options have both the ways of trading. It is having over the counter and exchange traded, right? So that's why I am showing you that the example OTC is forwards and exchange traded is futures. So under OTC, the forward contract will take place, under exchange traded futures will take place. So like how options will be traded in both OTC and exchange traded. Okay, right. And coming to the next thing, these are all the features. Once again, I'm going through the features. I'm just giving the gist of the features. So the first feature is types, call option and put option, where you are getting an advantage. When you are in call option, the buyer will get an advantage, but not the seller. Here in the put option, the seller will have an advantage, but not the buyer. And the second one is styles of the options. We have two styles of options. One is American option and European option. American option can be exercised at any time before the maturity period, and European option has to be exercised only on the maturity date. Physical delivery and the cash settlement. In both the ways, the options can be settled. Underlying assets can be the agricultural commodities, foreign currencies, interest rates, stocks, etc. And we know the relation between spot price and the strike price in the form of in the money, at the money, and out of the money. Based upon its cash flows, either positive, negative, or neutral, we have distinguished in the money, at the money, and out of the money. And next one is over the counter and exchange, over the counter versus exchange rate. Both in both the ways, the trading will take place for options. Now let us see the option pricing. The other concept in options is options pricing. So we have seen forward pricing, future pricing, like how options also having pricing, means we have to ascertain the price of the option. So then only we can suggest any of the buyer or seller whether to buy the option or to sell the option. When we are able to calculate, or when we are able to ascertain its value, then if we then you can suggest any of the investor either to invest in that particular thing, in that particular asset, or not to invest. So we'll ascertain that. So what is option pricing? First of all, option pricing is to obtain a right without the obligation. The option holder has to pay a premium to the one conferring the right at a price. So means, if you see in the previous pages, in the previous pages we discussed, when I'm discussing this, the differences between the options and the futures. So I told you in the options, payment of premium is required. Premium amount has to be paid in options. I mentioned you payment of premium. So that the premium amount is nothing but the options pricing, means how much amount, how much premium has to be paid to the other party, to the opposite party, or to the counterparty. So that is nothing but the option pricing, to obtain the right without obligation. In the option, what we are having the feature, what is the main feature of the option? We are getting the right, but not the condition, means but not the obligation. So in order to get that, in order to get the right without the obligation, the option holder has to pay the premium amount to the opposite party at the right time. Okay, so that would be called as option pricing. So the option pricing has two values or two components. The option value has two components. So the first component is intrinsic value, and the second one is time value. We all know what is an intrinsic value and what is a time value, but with respect to the options, we'll discuss once again. So intrinsic value means it is the value attached to the option if it is exercised now. Suppose if the agreement is after 3 months, or if the duration of the maturity period is 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, it can be anything based upon our choice. Now suppose we have to think, suppose now we are exercising that option, then what would be the price? That we consider it as intrinsic value. Okay, so means the difference between the exercise price and the spot price, then we call it as an intrinsic value. It is the value attached to the option if it is exercised now, is called an intrinsic value. So that the maturity period can be anything. It can be 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or 2 years or 3 years. It can be anything. The difference between the spot price and the exercise value will give you the intrinsic value. So intrinsic value is nothing but the difference between the spot price and the exercise price. So in mathematical way, we represent it as, for call option, this is for call option. Call option, the intrinsic value is maximum of s minus x or 0. S minus x, what is s minus x? S represents the spot value, x represents the exercise value, right? The difference between the spot price and the exercise price, comma 0. So which is maximum will be considered as an intrinsic value. Suppose if 0 is the maximum value, if 0 is the maximum value, we consider 0 means the intrinsic value of that particular option is 0. So you have to remember that the intrinsic value can never be negative. Okay, it is either 0 or more than 0, but not the negative value. That you need to remember. So the intrinsic value of a call option is maximum of s minus x comma 0. S is spot value, x is exercise value. So like how a put option, for put option also the intrinsic value is maximum of x minus s comma 0. Okay, and maximum either the exercise price minus the spot price. You will see here the difference between the call and put option has to be implemented here. Call option is right for the buyer, put option is right for the seller. That's why you can observe s minus x and x minus x s. In the case of call option, it is s minus x. In case of put option, it is x minus s, because of the right to buy and right to sell based upon the call and based upon the put. So that's why the terms has been changed. You need to identify that, otherwise you will get confused. Okay, that is intrinsic value. And the next one is time value. I told you the options price of an option having two components. One is intrinsic value and the second one is time value. So intrinsic value we have seen. The time value is nothing but the difference between The actual price minus the intrinsic value. Yes or no? Time value is nothing but we consider the present value of money over there. So that's why it is the difference between actual price minus intrinsic value. Okay, so in this, if you see, if you will be asked to calculate, when you are asked to calculate the price of an option, they may be asked you to calculate the intrinsic value, at the same time time value of that option. So you need to remember these things. You need to remember, for intrinsic value, the difference between spot price and the exercise price, comma 0, and the time value is the difference between the actual price minus intrinsic value. Next one is Black and Scholes option pricing model. I think you all know well about this Black and Scholes option pricing model. When we are discussing, when we are studying about the security analysis, so we are means this portfolio management, when we are giving suggestions to the investors whether to invest in these in this asset or not. So we follow certain models like capital asset pricing model, arbitrage model, Black and Scholes model. Right. So in that model, we have studied about these Black and Scholes. So, but in the case of options, we again discuss this model, Black and Scholes option pricing model. So the pricing of the option is based on this model. So it has certain assumptions. We all know that it is completely based on European style. Means when I'm telling the features of the options, I told you it is of two types. The styles operating of options is of two types: European option and American option. Under European option, what is an European option? European option is nothing but it is operated only at the time of maturity, right? So that is the first assumption. We are thinking this model means this model is suitable for European style and no transaction cost, and this is an efficient market. We all know efficient market hypothesis. We studied in the earlier semester, in the previous semester we studied about efficient market hypothesis. Markets are of three types: strong markets, weak markets, semi-strong markets. Based upon the information availability, we distinguished markets into three types: strong, semi-strong, and weak. Weak means, so the data won't be any kind of information about the stocks or about the assets or about the trading things won't be available in the market. In such cases, we consider that market as a weak market. Semi-strong means, so present means at present how the value of those assets or how the value of those stocks, that information will be available in the market, then that condition will be called as semi-strong markets. And strong market means present data and the previous data also will be available in the market, and that will be called as efficient market or the strong market. So this is a strong market, means the data, present data and the previous data, both the data are available. And the next one is the underlying assets pay no dividends. Means the underlying assets can be what agricultural goods or interest rates or the foreign currency or the stocks, as we discussed in the previous features options, right? Features of the options. So those underlying assets pay no dividends. The rate of return won't be there. Means every month or compoundedly or semi-compoundedly, we are not paying any dividends. Okay, in that case, so the call option formula is C is equal to S into n of d1 minus x e power minus rt n of d2. Okay, C is for call option, right? How do we calculate this d1 and d2? So d1 is ln, means natural logarithm of s by x plus r plus sigma square by 2 into t by by sigma root t. That is for d1. And for d2, natural logarithm of s by x plus r minus sigma square by 2 into t by root t. The basic difference between d1 and d2 is plus or minus, that's all. And also you can get d2 as d1 minus sigma root t. C is for call, means the call premium. S is spot price, X is exercise price, or R is annual risk-free interest rate. So that should be compounded in decimals, and T is time remaining for expiration, means the leftover time for expiration. It would be, it also has to be calculated in years. Suppose if it is given in months, you have to convert it into years. And sigma, which is nothing but the standard deviation, and n of d1 and n of d2 are nothing but the normal distribution value, normal distribution of d1 and d2 respectively, right? By using the normal distribution tables, you need to get these n of d1 and n of d2. So let us see an example, a problem, so that you can understand. So the following information is given. Current market price is 50. What is current market price? Current market price means, how do you represent? Current market price means S, right? Annual volatility. Annual volatility means, so that is nothing but the standard deviation, sigma, 30%. So that has to be in the form of, that is in percentage, you need to convert that percentage. And risk-free interest rate is 10%. That also you need to convert. Find out the value of 3 months call option with exercise price of rupees 40. Exercise price was given 40, and 3 months, for 3 months, the time period T is given as 3 months. So for that you need to calculate. So this is the Black-Scholes value of call. C is equal to Sn of d1 minus x into e power minus rt n of d2, where d1 is equal to ln of s by x plus r plus sigma square by 2 into t by root of t. So you just identify what is S. S is 50, X is 40, X, it is given exercise price, X is 40, R is 10%, so 0.10, T is 3 months, means 3 by 12, 0.25. Sigma, standard deviation, annual volatility is 30%, 0.30. So you just substitute in this. ln you'll get by using your calculator, natural logarithm. Option would be there, ln natural logarithm, so that you can directly calculate by using your calculators. 50 by 40, and after solving all these, so you'll get 1.729 d1 value is 1.729, and d2 is, so as in the formula, d1 minus sigma root t. So just substitute that, so that you will get the value 1.5793 d2 value. So this is d1 and this is d2. In the formula, it is given n of d1 and n of d2. So you have to calculate the normal distribution for this n of d1 and n of d2. So see, how do we get this normal distribution? So in this session only, I'll tell you how to calculate. Means at the end of these documents, see, I just uploaded these also, the normal distribution tables, how you have to calculate this normal distribution value. So this is for positive values, the normal distribution value for positive, and this is the normal distribution value for negative. So if you see in the formula, sorry, in here in the calculation, we got both the positive values. So by using positive tables, you can calculate. Suppose if any of the value, see, if this is given 60, if x is given 60, you may get the negative value. So at that time, you have to use the negative distribution tables. So here we are getting positive value, so we use positive distribution tables. So the value, first d1 value is how much? D1 is 1.729. So 1.729, you have to see under 1.7. 1.729 can be corrected as 1.73, because 9, you can add one digit to this, 1.729. So 1.73. So 1.7 under 0.03, you can see 1.7 under 0.03, 1.7 under 0.03. So this is the intersection point, 0.9582. So that value, that is n of d1. So n of d1 is this. N of d1 is C, 0.9582, same value, right? So now you, for d2, you have to calculate 1.5793. 1.5793. For that, 1.5793 can be corrected, I think. Where it is. right? So we can correct this to 1.58. For 1.58, we'll calculate 1.5. Under 1.5, 0.08, you need to see the intersection of 1.5 and 0.08. That is, this is the intersection point, 0.9429. 0.9429. See, 0.9429. So like how we'll get n of d1 and n of d2. Right, we'll substitute that in the formula. S n of d1 minus x e power minus r t n of d2. So e, calculation of e, by using your calculators you can get this value, right? So you'll get this value. Finally, after solving this, you'll get 11.12, which is nothing but rupees 11.12. So the premium value for the given option is 11.12, right? So, and here I shown, actually the problem is asked to calculate only the call premium, but I just extended the problem by calculating intrinsic value and time value for you to understand the previous concept of intrinsic and time value. So intrinsic value, what is intrinsic value? Intrinsic value is nothing but the difference between the spot price and the exercise price. So spot price and exercise price is 50 minus 40, that is 10 rupees, right? 10 rupees is the intrinsic value. So time value of money, time value. So here max, it is s minus x comma 0. So it is more, the 10 rupees is more than 0. So we consider rupees 10. If you see the time value of money, what is time value of money? Actual price minus intrinsic. So intrinsic is 10 rupees. Just now we calculated, we got it. So the call premium value is 11.12. So the difference between the actual price minus intrinsic value is the time value of money. 11.12 minus 10 will get 1.12. So like how we have to calculate intrinsic value and time value. See here, this is for call. This is for call option. Okay. This mostly you may means you may get the time period may be changed, the annual volatility, all these things will be changed, but the procedure is same for call option and put option. And if you see this, here I explained for 40 rupees, you can practice for 50 rupees and 60 rupees also, so that you'll get practice to the formula and also to the procedure. Okay, you can solve for the, you just take the data is completely data as same, but you can calculate for rupees 50, that means the exercise price rupees 40 I have shown you, but for 50 and 60 also you can calculate, so that for that also you try to calculate the intrinsic value and time value, so that you'll get accustomed, right? Okay, and here are the distribution tables for you to solve that problem. And one more thing is relationship of call and put options, means we all know there is relation between call option and put option, which is nothing but put call parity. We call it as put call parity. The relation between the prices of call and put option is known as put call parity, and that is shown in this equation. C is equal C plus x by 1 plus r whole power t is equal to s plus p, where C is call premium, x is the exercise price, s is the spot price, t is the time period, r is the interest rate, and all you know, p is the put value. This is call value and put value, the relation between the call value and the put value. So that is nothing but that this you need to remember, this equation you need to remember. Suppose if it is asked, you have solved for call option, if it is asked for put option, by using this equation you can solve for put option. So that is the relationship between the call option and the put option, which is nothing but put call parity. So this is the end of the session. Hope you understood the concepts. If you have any doubts, you can just get contact with me. Thank you.